Hello, so I am the Analyzer, and the topic we're going to be covering today is One Punch Man power scaling. So I made a somewhat decent tier list of what I believe the One Punch Man characters are, and I'm just going to kind of go through that and talk about why I put certain characters where I put them. And I'm going to start at the strongest, of course, because it's a lot easier to explain why a character's feat are greater than another character's than why a character is weaker than another character. Especially when a lot of the characters are very subjective, as we haven't seen them do as much as we really would like to have. So if this isn't clear already, this is going to contain spoilers for both the manga, the anime, and the webcomic. If you don't want to be spoiled for any of the three, click off this video right now, and without further ado, we'll start with the strongest in the series, which is, of course, Saitama himself. It's called One Punch Man for a reason, and he could most likely beat every single one of these other people in the tier list entirely in just one punch. So, of course, he is the top. Okay, so for our first real entry, we're going to have S-Class Rank 1 Blast. And the reason I put him above Boros is I actually believe Boros is clearly God tier, even though the Association considers him a dragon, simply because of the fact that he's stated to Saitama, and take in mind, not the Association, Saitama only, that his collapsing Star Warring cannon technique was able to destroy the Earth in its entirety. So I think that puts Boros at God tier. But we do know from One himself and the Association that Blast comes around only when there's a God tier opponent on the loose. And I think that means that Blast is probably actually like mid to high God tier in general. Like, I don't think he's bottom of the barrel God tier. Not that Boros necessarily is, but I think that just the evidence we have states that Blast is more likely than not above Boros. So next we are going to have S-Class Rank 7 King. And you might be wondering, isn't King in reality super weak? Why is he above pretty much everyone on this list, when in reality he should be at the bottom? Well, he actually does have an ability. He does have a superpower. Two, in fact. He has extreme luck and extreme charisma, which may sound stupid, but take in mind it's got him this far to the point he's an S-Class hero, and has saved him from many people, such as that big board we see him when we find out that he's weak, Goro. It saved him a lot of times. So the reason I put him where I did is because even though you could argue he's above Blast, because if Blast goes to kill King, he's going to realize, wait a second, first of all, he's going to think he's super strong because of his King's engine and other stuff that deal with his powers. And then even if he did somehow find out, no, this guy's lucky, Saitama would just so happen to be walking by. If you're a fan of Phineas and Ferb, you realize the Phineas and Ferb effect, which I'm not going to go too much into that, simply because this is a video about them, is very similar to what King has. But regardlessly, I still would put his plot armor, if you want to call it that, itself, above people like Tatsumaki and almost anyone else. But I would say that the problem is, even someone like Fubuki, if they will find out that he's just lucky, and that he doesn't have any real fighting abilities himself, they can make careful plans to get rid of all probability that Saitama will come by, that someone else will come by to save him, and then they could kill him. So, like, he has an extreme vulnerability, but not many people would know about that vulnerability, and you'd have to be kind of a smart thinker that thinks things through to actually take advantage of that weakness of his. So we have Class S, Rank 2, Tornado of Terror, Tatsumaki. Of course, her being my favorite character in the entire series, I may sound a bit biased, but take in mind I'm doing these rankings off evidence and not really emotions or anything like that. So I'm going to be trying to give her the most fair spot without saying, oh, I want her higher because I like them, or I want them low because I don't like them. So I think she's above Awakened Garo, of course, which in the webcomic she loses to. But two things to take in mind in that fight. She had a very serious head injury, which weakened her Esper powers greatly. And her statement, which she is a bit cocky sometimes, but she stated that if she did not have the head injury, she would be able to beat Awakened Garo in 5 seconds. Now, even if she's grossly exaggerating and it take her 60 seconds, it's not going to matter because Garo's main thing is that he improves when he's fighting someone and gets stronger throughout the fight. If you can just beat them down, and as she said, 5 seconds or even 10 seconds, 15 seconds, so on, when you can beat someone that quickly, it doesn't matter how fast they can improve if you can just instantly crush them. And I don't think she's lying to Garo. I mean, she's confident for sure, and she has all right to be, being so strong. But I don't think a seasoned fighter like Class S Rank 2, clearly, is lying when they say they can beat someone really easily, even if they are exaggerating. And the reason I put above Monster King Orochi is it's kind of hard to gauge exactly where they're at, and we know that they both have pretty high feats. But Saitama did beat the Monster King with one normal punch. So I think that, honestly, if Saitama's so inclined to beat someone, he's gonna beat him in one punch, regardlessly. And Saitama kind of already told him that I'm gonna beat you in one punch, so he kind of had that word to keep there, so he probably used a lot more power in that punch, if he needed to, than say he even did against Boros. Of course, Boros, as you can tell from my thing, is way above him, because we have no evidence that the Monster King can destroy a planet like we do Boros. But it's possible that Monster King Orochi is at least somewhat near armored Boros in power before his unbeatable power, or whatever he calls it, is revealed or awakened or whatever. But regardless of that, I think it's technically could go either way. But I think with a lot of our evidence, I think we could say Tatsumaki is above the Monster King. And I think just by her statement alone, she's above Awakened Garo. Now for Monster King Orochi. Now the simple reason I put him from above Awakened Garo is again because of Tatsumaki's statement that she could beat him in 5 seconds. Like, it's possible she could do the same to Monster King Orochi. It's possible that both of them are stronger than her, actually. We just don't know, but with the evidence we have, we can say that Monster King Orochi is at the very least a high demon, because of the way he was pretty easily wrecking the entire city, which means he could probably wreck multiple cities, of course. And we know that Garo is also a high demon, just from scaling alone from him beating certain people in fights, even before he was awakened. So it's like, both high demons, it's hard to say which one's stronger, really. And of course Saitama beat them both, so you never know with Saitama, because he'll take forever fighting someone sometimes, and then other times he'll just one-punch them, so it's... He's never landed on an opponent he can't one-punch. And with Monster King Orochi, he specifically told him at the very beginning, I'm going to beat you in one punch. And when fighting Awakened Garo, he specifically held back because Saitama still somewhat considers Garo a human and not really a monster, and he doesn't kill humans. He only fights monsters normally. So it's really iffy putting who's stronger there. I put Monster King Orochi as stronger, just because I think his feats are a bit higher of what we've seen. We just don't know, though, ultimately. It could go either way. And then, I'm just going to do Garo real quick, too, since we talked about those three so much. I think Garo is very likely above the High Dragon and Elder Centipede, simply because of the fact that we're seeing Bang, Bomb, and Genos, and Metal Bat. give Elder Centipede a pretty decent run for his money, I feel like. And I think Goro is inevitably a bunch above all those people even combined. So I think just inherently Goro is a heck of a monster. He's just not quite as strong as some of the other people on this list. Okay, next we're going to have that Elder Centipede, which I put him above the next level of Goro, even though I'm not 100% sure who's stronger, of course. They're both very high dragons, so we don't really know. But one thing I do take in mind with Elder Centipede, he left quite the impression on me, taking down Bang and Bomb and Genos with Metal Bat in the mix. And then it took, of course, King and Saitama, of course, to beat him, which the two together, which, as you can see, they're both, could even be argued the top two characters in the entire story, like I said earlier. And that's one reason I think that Blast is, of course, below Saitama, the fact he's the One Punch Man, and he's the main character that can't find an equal. In the days before Saitama, and maybe Tatsumaki and a lot of the heroes that we do have today, because we don't know how long ago it was, really. If it's stated, correct me, but I don't remember them ever stating how long ago it was. But what we do know is Blast took it on and beat it so bad it ran away scared, and the Monster Association itself said there was only a few heroes that could beat the Elder Centipede. Among those were, of course, King and Tatsumaki, and I think Metal Knight might have if he had like his ultimate drone, of course, but I don't remember if it said he could or not. But regardlessly, let's just say before the Tatsumaki and Saitama and King, it took Blast to beat him, and Blast, of course, beat him down so bad he ran away scared, and then Saitama comes in and beats him in one punch and utterly destroys him. So I think even just by those 2 feats alone, we can guess that Saitama is probably stronger than Blast, and then if you take in all the fucking, it's his show, he's the main character, all that stuff, he's almost inevitably stronger than Blast. The reason I put him above Goro, like I said, we have no idea who's stronger they are. We both know they're very high dragons, and that's what we have to leave it at. In the same way we kind of use Tatsumaki and her statements and her power as somewhat of a metric for the whole force tier, we're going to be doing the same thing with Carnage Kabuto here. And, first off, we have the red-haired Goro, which, I think he's probably below Elder Centipede, just took Bang, Bomb, Genos, all of them, and Metal Bat, of course, to stand up to Elder Centipede, and they still were pretty easily losing until King and Saitama came along. So, Elder Centipede is very, very high dragon. I think he's most likely above Goro, in the red-haired form, of course, just before monsterization. And the reason I put him above Carnage Kabuto is because of one statement Carnage Kabuto made, that he's more intelligent and powerful than any regular human, which is why he's inevitably above Bang, because Bang is a non-enhanced human. I think Goro, at least in this form, has a bit more power than Bang and a bit less intelligence, but is overall about the same. And then he has monster abilities like regeneration, extra durability. Of course, he has his improving mid-battle, which most people don't have. So it's possible he's below Carnage Kabuto, and we really don't have much evidence of whether he's above or below him. But he does have the possibility to be above him, simply because of the fact that he is about Bang, which is like top end of what a human can naturally achieve. And then on top of that, he has monster abilities that makes him not a regular human. So I just thought that we don't know who's stronger, but we do have somewhat evidence that they're both similar, and that it is possible for Go to be stronger. So I decided that, since Go was so low on the Force tier, the Awakened Go, I thought I'd try to put him pretty high to make up for the Go levels. And just because we don't really know, we have no idea who's stronger. But I think if you had to hold a gun to my head, I would say Goro in the red-haired form is stronger than Carnage Kabuto. So for the next few, we're just literally going to be able to look at the S-Class rank. Yeah, a pretty good idea. So in order, we have Bang, of course, S-Class rank 3. We have Pig God, which is S-Class rank 10. And I didn't even look at the ranks before determining this order of these three right here, which is Pig God, Darkshine, and Flashy Flash. But turns out, looking at the rankings, I was, of course, right. I put Pig God above Darkshine because he seems to be able to digest a lot of things that other people would struggle to get rid of otherwise, which is super OP. And looking at the rankings, I think he's S-Class rank 10, if I remember correctly. And then Darkshine is S-Class rank 13, and Flashy Flash is S-Class rank 15. And I think that makes sense because Flashy Flash has extreme speed, Darkshine has power and durability. So I think that definitely makes sense the way that goes. And then Metal Bat, I don't remember. I think he's a bit below them. But regardlessly, we know he can take out some dragon level threats, and he's clearly pretty decent to the S-Class. So that's why he's there. And then we have the Deep Sea King, which, of course, he's below Metal Bat because Metal Bat can take out a dragon level threat, while the Deep Sea King cannot. And then we have we have Genos and Speedo Sound Sonic below the Deep Sea King because they're around the same strength. It's stayed by one that they're almost exactly the same strength at most given points in time. And Genos lost the Deep Sea King. Like, maybe he would have won if it weren't for that acid trick. We just don't know, though. So I'm going to just put him below because we don't know whether or not he would have won, and that he didn't say he could have won if it wasn't for that, or none of that. So we're going to put them both below. And then for the Goro that has the silver gray hair, he was literally beaten by Genos. So we know for sure that, and of course Metal Bat he was beaten by, even in the red form, which technically they stopped, but one himself stated that if that last blow would have landed and his sister didn't stop him, Metal Bat would have killed Goro there. So I think that's why I'm putting the regular gray-haired beginning Goro so low. And then for Ibuki, I wanted to include her, just because she is a sidekick, so she is a lot above regular people. And it is stated by Fubuki herself that she could probably make it to A-Class, but due to the high guarding of A-Class rank 1, similar to what she does with the B-Class, actually, she won't make it much past low A-Class either way. So she is probably A-Class, even though her rank is B-Class, similar to Saitama. But regardlessly, she's probably only A-Class to begin with in power, probably high A-Class. But I just thought it was interesting to talk about the fact that even though she's B-Class, she's stronger than her class, would make you think. And that's pretty much what I have right here. The rankings for a tier list of One Punch Man characters. And of course, a lot of this stuff is subjective, like the Garo vs. Carnage Kabuto. A lot of the S tiers, just basically, Orochi could be below Garo, could be above Tatsumaki. King, of course, you can put him almost anywhere on this, if you really feel so inclined, except above Saitama, of course. So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts, and if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, or if you just want to discuss why I thought a character was as strong as they were and want to hear more evidence, just drop a comment. If you want to support the channel, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm out.